stars and lava lamplights. Nostalgia Mania, let your memories fly. Toys R Us tears in a surge soda high. From hair gel spikes to butterfly clips, we're bringing it back. No skips, just hits. Nostalgia Mania, come take the trip.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 36 of Nostalgia Mania, your go-to time machine for reliving the games, movies, toys, and memories that defined the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I am your host, the real Josh Elliott. With me tonight, as always, Brian J. Baby. What's going on, Brian? How are you?
Not a whole lot. Doing good. How are you?
Good, man. Good to have you back on the show and back in your usual spot in front of that glorious green screen.
The glorious green screen.
You should put something cool behind you, like put a black background of the episode or something. To
when I get the computer up and running, we're gonna do that.
There you go. What are you running on a flip phone tonight, or what?
Yes, I am. Not a flip phone, but a phone. Yes.
That's good stuff. Hey, man, we've been advertising it all week. We are on a mission tonight. A mission
from God.
From God. We're going to revisit kind of the wildest, most iconic comedies of the 80s, the Blues Brothers. We're going to talk epic car chases, legendary musical performances, and break down kind of the chaos and the soulful soundtrack that kind of defined Jake and Elwood. We're talking the Blues Brothers, man.
Tons and tons of guest cameos.
Yes, I can't wait to talk about them. That was a fun watch. I had never seen this movie before. When you hopped on as the permanent co-host, I said, "Hey, you know what do you want to cover?" You know, we changed the format. We're going to do a movie every month. We're going to do a video game every month. We're going to do probably a wrestling show every month. And this was one of your top picks, and I had never seen it before, so I was pleasantly surprised.
It's a classic.
It is. I can see why you liked it so much. It was funny, and I can't wait to get into it, man. Yeah,
it's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, what did you? We're going to talk about it. We don't have to get too deep into it, but we're going to do it anyway, just because it was a big thing that happened over the weekend. What did you think about America coming together and what happened on quote unquote No King's Day?
I thought it was great. Unfortunately, I was unable to make any events because I was visiting my parents. My dad is sick right now, so kind of had some family obligations, but I thought it was great, and I think we just need to continue.
Yeah, I agree. It was a very good sign of unity across the country, from all every edge of it really, and all the way to the center. It was a great show of kind of everyone coming together and for one common goal, right? So, that was Saturday, right?
That was Saturday, and yes, and another reason I didn't go is because my flight didn't get in until 10 p.m. Friday night, so I was a little tired.
Yeah. We had family photos Saturday morning up in Kansas City, up at Loose Park, and so we had family photos there. And then actually, my niece and her wife went to the deal I can't remember where it was at. Kansas City, down by was it by where was it at? Do you remember? I think it was by Nelson Atkins, wasn't it? Or was it?
Yeah, it was by I think they ended up in that area.
Yeah. The videos of that were pretty cool. I mean, it kind of reminded me, of how Kansas City likes to gather people, and that was kind of a cool scene to see.
It was. It definitely was.
Yep. So, outside of that, man, did you had safe travels? You said you got back super late Friday. So you had an early flight last week and Monday, and now you had a late flight Friday.
Yep, late flight Friday. I don't like to fly out early on Friday because I feel like I could work some in the morning and then into the afternoon and fly back. It's more hours, Usually my flights run, I'll go on a Sunday and then I can start work Monday morning fresh. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that this time, but it's all good, man.
Nice. Good for you.
Got another early flight in about 10 days.
Wait, are you same place or?
When we're going on vacation.
Oh, nice. Where are you going?
The wife and I are going to Salem, Massachusetts.
Salem, Massachusetts.
About 14 miles north of Boston.
There you go. That's cool. You guys
Another
have family up there or what?
She has family up there. We don't always see them. Like we haven't. Her aunt's very, very busy.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
But we just go and relax by the beach and have a good time.
Are we gonna have to record a bonus episode for that week?
We may have to. I will let you know.
We can do it. All right. Well, again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. We are currently live. If you're watching right now, as we talk on Tuesday night, we are live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, both at JSE Studios. You can also catch all of our video on demand on our YouTube page. We're also on the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, everywhere else podcasts are hosted. We've got social medias, Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitch, all at JSE Studios, 816 at the end of that, which I don't think JSE Studios was taken, but it's kind of a defunct page on most of those platforms. So I put the 816 in there, indicating that is me. I'm also at The Real Josh Elliott on Twitch, which we are currently live on as well. We just never get any viewers on Twitch. So
that's okay. We'll get it built up.
Do you got any streaming? You got a Twitch or any place where you could stream? Maybe we could throw a Nostalgia Mania episode up on a Brian J page.
I have a Twitch. I don't remember it. I try to share on TikTok and Instagram, but that's really about all I have.
Yeah, TikTok won't let you go live unless you have 1,000 followers, and even the hot tag after the 2-year run did not get to 1,000 followers. So we still can't go live on the hot tag page. So
it's not easy to do.
No, it's not. I mean, you gotta be super active on there and post, multiple times a day, and ain't nobody got time for that. Oh, some people do. Just the real Josh Elliott does not.
No, because you have a 9 to 5.
9 to 5. I got 3 kids. I got a wife. It's been a wild ride. So, all right, let's jump into this. Actually, last week, we had MySpace. You can check out that episode. That's on all socials, and that's on all podcasts, I should say. So you can go back and check that out. It was a good episode. I went and listened to it the other day, and I started thinking about more things that we missed and we forgot about, we could have said, and so I do that a lot when I'm re-listening to some of these episodes. But did you have anything you wanted to? I did this with our previous co-host Derek. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, or anything that you wanted to say about MySpace before we jump into this week's topic?
I really don't think so. I mean, like I said, I didn't have it long, and I don't really remember a ton about it.
Yeah.
Just what we shared.
Yep. I'm still releasing clips. I got one more clip in the bank right now on TikTok from that episode, so be on the lookout for that. I'm going to post it on Facebook and Instagram Reels as well. So it's a good one. It's a poll. It's interactive. Hopefully you guys can participate in that one. It's going to be a fun one. So, all right, let's shift gears. We're 15 minutes into this thing. Let's jump into our main topic, the main event of the evening, as we like to say. And that's the Blues Brothers, which was, again, first time seeing it about a week or so ago. Was released in June of 1980. This movie starred John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd as the two main characters. The budget for the film was $27 million, $27.5 million. Had a box office of $115 million, so super successful.
Yep.
Made a lot of that money back. You had cameos. We're going to talk about some of them from, and not just cameos, but other co-stars. Carrie Fisher was one that was in the movie. You also saw John Candy. You saw Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens.
A very young Pee Wee.
A very young Pee Wee Herman. Yep, he was there. He was definitely a cameo. You saw Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, Kathleen Freeman, and I'm sure I'm missing more.
James Brown, Cab Calloway, John Lee Hooker. Yeah, there was a ton.
Yeah.
Just from what I can remember.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll cross paths with each one of them as we kind of run through this. We're going to go through just like we did with the Goofy movie. We're going to kind of go through kind of scene by scene and break down some of the most iconic parts of the show of the movie. But the premise of the movie, the overall premise, I'll let you kind of described it last week. You can get a little bit more in depth this time. What is the Blues Brothers about?
So the premise of the movie is these two brothers who grew up in an orphanage and raised by the Penguins, which, if you watch the movie, they are nuns. So they were raised by the Penguins, and after they got out, somehow they ended up in jail. But they found out that after they got out, that the orphanage was going to close unless they raised enough money to save it. So their whole mission in this movie is to get the band back together, play an epic gig so that they can get the money to take to the Penguins before they shut down the orphanage.
There you go. What a wild ride it was, because we start off the movie in Joliet Prison, where we see Jake for the very first time. He's getting released from prison, so we get to see that kind of iconic silent walk with the sunglasses, kind of walking through. And I got a screenshot that we'll show for those viewers watching live. Here's your John Belushi, Joliet Correction Center mugshot. Sorry, I dropped there for a second, but yeah, what a crazy way to kind of a very silent, and it was a little bit like it wasn't long because it was a very good opening. Now that I saw what came right after that, but it was like a very long silent. Right. You can hear the music playing in the background. It was kind of a wild start to the movie.
It was, and it's like when you see that mugshot, that's probably one of the only times you will see one of the Blues Brothers without glasses.
Yeah.
without sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
Is a key element in their fashion.
Yep. Yep. So, one of the funniest parts of the movies happened extremely early, for me at least. I laughed quite a bit at this, but the funniest one, in my opinion, was at the orphanage. Because right after, Elwood picks up John and they kind of drive, the first stop they make is, to Sister Mary Stigma, at the orphanage, and they're sitting down, they're talking to her, and she's kind of telling them what's happening. They're, and one of them, I don't remember which one, like curses, and then she slaps them, and she goes, "Oh shit!" And then she slaps the other one, and they go, "Oh god damn it!" And then they slap it again. And it goes back and forth for like, oh, it was hilarious. Dude, I cracked up.
The slapping is iconic.
So, dude, complete comedy gold, man. Like I said, that was a great. Like I said, the first two scenes of the movie, and that you kind of see not only that is they're squeezing themselves into an old school. Talk about old tech and old school. They're squeezing themselves into a old, what is it, school desk, I guess?
Yeah, school desks.
A one-piece school desk. How long has it been since you've seen one of them things?
Oh, it's been a long time.
Do they still use them in school, or is it like a chair and a desk? I don't even know.
I think they have like big desks now with like 4 seats around them, even in high school. So.
Really? Yeah, my kids have like just the little seats with a big, like they're at a table together with 4 people, 4 kids, but I didn't know if like high school.
I think it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see those tables anymore, really.
And then he gets thrown down the stairs, still sitting in it.
In the desk. Yep.
So it was at the bottom of those stairs. They reunite with. It was Curtis, right?
Curtis. Yep.
Yep. And he's kind of the one that tells them that the orphanage is in trouble, financial trouble, and he suggests that, hey, the theme of the show of the movie is you should get the band back together.
Get the band back together. Yep.
Let's get it together. Let's that kind of introduced as well. Kind of that mission from God concept. Because you'll hear later on in the movie if you ever watched it or follow along, we're going to hear that. Hey, we're going to get the band back together, and the reasoning is it's a mission from God, and that kind of talks some of the band members to agree to it. So, I have a note here. Music highlight. She Caught the Katy by Taj Mahal. Yeah, I know the song. Was that playing during that scene, or I believe it was. It was. I think that's why I wrote that down.
I believe it was, and the reason that song is played is because the Blues Brothers actually played that on Saturday Night Live when they did one of their musical appearances.
Let's talk about that before we jump into the next scene. I have never seen any of their sadly any of their Saturday Night Live stuff. Kind of talk about where the Blues Brothers kind of started before the movie.
So you can watch the Blues Brothers. There's got to be some places that have it, like the best of John Belushi, the best of Dan Aykroyd, and it'll show just some of the best stuff. And of course, the Blues Brothers is on there. But the original Blues Brothers, it started out as a sketch in 1976. Although they weren't called the Blues Brothers, but it was the Blues Brothers band, and it had Jake and Elwood both dressed up in bumblebee outfits, singing "I'm the King Bee," and it sounds corny as all get out, and it is, but it's hilarious. But then later on, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, they had gotten together before this, and they both found that they both have a love of the blues because they were bored with rock and roll. They didn't really like disco or country, so they kind of fell into the blues. And their friendship just started then, and then they did this skit. And in '78, they were talking with someone backstage named Arlen Roth, and he was performing with Art Garfunkel that week. But before the actual live show, Belushi and Aykroyd joined him, and they joined him on stage wearing the suits, just like in a rehearsal. They ended up becoming their look, you know. So Roth thought it was genius, and he immediately taught John Belushi the lyrics to the song they were going to sing that night, and he sang it with him. So then they started doing the whole Blues Brothers skit on Saturday Night Live. So in '78 is when it really started. Then 2 years later, they have a movie. But not only did they have the movie, I want to say here, I have it in my notes here. They ended up, I want to say they recorded 3 albums, and they ended up even going on tour multiple times, not just once. They went 2 or 3 times on tour.
So John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd went on tour. As the Blues Brothers, and their backing band was essentially the Saturday Night Live band. In '78 they recorded A Briefcase Full of Blues. In '80 was Made in America, and then in '81 they came out with a best of. And in '83 they recorded Dancing with the Blues Brothers, or with the Blues Brothers. So they were very successful, even, you know, before, during, and after. Yeah. That's wild, man. I had no idea that Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi actually went on tour. Like, I knew they did the Saturday Night Live stuff, but I didn't know that they went on tour as the Blues Brothers. That's kind of cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a wild time back then. Unfortunately, I was just a kid, so I just remember the movie.
Yeah, I was not born yet. I was still 7 years, from the time this movie came out, for sure. I did pull up a screenshot. This is the Bumblebee. Yeah.
Tell me that is not iconic and hilarious.
That's good. I see the YouTube link there. I think I'm going to go. I know I'm going to watch when we get off this episode. I'm going to go check that out.
You better. And then I want to text on what you think of it.
Definitely.
Especially Belushi, because he gets a little wild in that, you know.
I can only imagine. Yeah. So, all right. So we kind of move on from the orphanage, and we're now in the church scene, where Reverend James kind of has that gospel explosion. It's James Brown. I kind of looked up some information on this one, and it says James Brown's lip syncing challenge due to no playback system. So that was kind of a behind the scenes note of that scene. What can you tell me about? Do you have any insight on this church scene with James Brown?
It's James Brown. I mean, you got to love James Brown, and they were kind of like throughout this whole movie, as you know, they paid homage to all of the people that they really looked up to at the time, and obviously he's one of them. He didn't specifically sing the blues per se, but he's an icon nonetheless. No, I just love the dancing, you know. I remember a lot of dancing and a lot of that in the church scene, and it was just as a kid, I was like, I wasn't really into musicals.
Yeah.
This and maybe Grease, but it was iconic, you know. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. This is kind of like I said. This kind of sets up the where they start finally building the band back or putting the band back together. The next scene after the church, we go to the Holiday Inn.
the Holiday Inn or Ramada Inn. I can't remember which
Yeah,
one.
I think it was the Holiday Inn gig. You know, they had the the polyester suits, the fake palm trees,
All of it. Hilarious.
You know, the host kind of reminisces about some weird gigs and side hustles, and another one of those music highlights I wrote down. You can't turn you loose. I don't know if you heard the riff. You can't turn you loose. It was in the Holiday Inn scene. So we're building the. Did we add a band member in this scene? I can't remember.
Yeah, they got the keyboardist and I want to say the bassist Donald Duck Dunn.
Donald Duck Dunn.
I want to say. Let me find out who the.
Appreciate Broderick Hall for tuning in, sir. Talking the Blues Brothers, 1980 classic comedy.
Want to say, who was that? Alan Rubin, who is Mr. Fabulous on the keyboards.
That's right. Yeah,
Mr. Fabulous and Donald Duck Dunn.
Donald Duck Dunn,
Who had the iconic. I keep using that word, but there's no other word for it. The visor with the lights in.
Yes, it was great.
It's very awesome.
I wish I had a screenshot of that. I've got a few. I didn't grab enough before the show started. As I tend to do, I'm a little bit backwards here, but screenshot from the early stages of the movie where they're sitting at their desks, and then I don't know if we've seen this one yet. I don't think we have yet.
Nope, that's in the scene coming up.
Yeah, that's the fancy restaurant scene. Good, it sets us up.
Yep.
Or Mr. Fabulous at the fancy restaurant.
No, this is after that. This is at the cafe.
Oh, this is cafe. You're right.
Yeah,
Bad. I got them mixed up.
that is at the cafe. Yes.
So this one's is it Ches Paul?
Chez Paul.
Ches Paul is that
That's
the
the
name
fancy
of the
restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of the restaurant. So we get there. It's a great mix of comedy and absurdity, as this movie has, already been.
With the shrimp and.
Oh God.
And this is where you see. Pee Wee Herman.
Yep, there it is, Pee Wee Herman. Sorry, I had the screenshots all out of order, but yes, that is. That's the first thing I texted you. I said, "Is that Pee Wee Herman?" Yes.
yes, it is.
Yes, it is. He made a quick cameo in this. Pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. So, but yeah, they kind of say, hey, if you don't join our band, if you don't come back, we're gonna come to this restaurant every single day,
every night for every meal,
and cause so much chaos. And they said, okay, fine. So that's how they get him to rejoin and agree to go join back up with the Blues Brothers. What's next?
I believe
was this the old band montage?
I think they go to get Matt Guitar Murphy and Blue Lou after this, because they were the last two to get, I believe.
Yes.
And that's the next restaurant scene that you had.
Do we even want to mention, because I do have this kind of in between there, the run-in with the Illinois.
Oh, yes.
The Illinois Nazis.
The Illinois Nazis make an appearance, and they really other than annoying them, they serve no purpose because they protest, but they just kind of stand there
Yeah.
just to be annoying, and they block like city streets and stuff. But
Yeah.
they're more like just like speed bumps, I'd say, really, than anything.
I hate Illinois Nazis.
And that line comes up. That line comes up a couple of times.
The parody of the political tension in that scene, and
which, it all turns out for the good. So
yep. And fun fact: Henry Gibson plays the leader of that group. So, which he was known for a show called Laugh-In.
Yeah,
so if you guys are familiar with it,
and he was in stuff like into the 90s and 2000s.
Oh well, yeah.
Played quite a few characters. If people don't know him, if they look up his picture, they would, oh yeah, I've seen him before.
Yep. So right after this, and it took me a minute, we are introduced the first encounter with a mysterious woman with a rocket launcher.
Yes.
And we are first introduced with Carrie Fisher's character. And it took me a minute, man. Like, I saw her and I was like, man, she looks so familiar. Where do I know her from?
She just looks different.
Yeah. And that's what it was. It took me, I didn't figure it out with that scene. It took me to the second time seeing her before I realized who it was. It was Carrie Fisher. But she is apparently Jake's like scorned ex. We find out in the film, and so I did want to point out when they go to the and I really wish I would have spent more time trying to figure this out. So when they go into that, was it an apartment complex where
John? They went to the apartment complex.
The person behind the counter was watching TV. Did you notice what he was watching?
I don't remember what he was watching.
He was watching pro wrestling.
Smart man.
And I tried to figure out who. I mean, it was so far back and grainy, I could not tell who was wrestling or what promotion it was. It looked like it might have been an old. I don't think it was WWF. It was probably one of the territories.
It was NWA. Yeah.
Yeah. So
back then it was just territories.
Yeah. So where was this filmed? Do we know where the movie was filmed at?
I don't exactly, unless it says here in my notes. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to go look it up. I'd be real curious to see, because that'll tell you probably right then and there where, like, what territory we could probably get kind of close to what match he was watching. But I just thought that was kind of cool because I paused on it and I zoomed in. I tried to find it, but I couldn't make out either one of the wrestlers. There's probably two guys I've never heard of. I mean,
probably
he's probably not watching Ric Flair or Andre the Giant or whatever. So
I want to say Chicago for some reason in that area, but what would that have been
back then? Central States? Were they in Chicago?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'd have to. Anyway, we're getting off topic here on Blues Brothers.
Anyway, yeah.
So we get to the country bunker, kind of that rawhide scene.
This is not where we get to the country bunker. Yeah,
it's not.
We still have to. Yeah, we still have to pick up Matt Guitar Murphy and Blue Lou in the diner.
Right, let's talk about it because I don't know if I have that. I must be out of order here. So go ahead.
So they go to this diner next. That is the one where they walk in, and Aretha Franklin is behind the counter, and Jake orders 4 fried chickens and a Coke, and Elwood gets a piece of dry white toast. So when she goes to the back and says, "This honky wants 4 fried chickens and a Coke," and he's like, "Jake?" And the other one wants a piece of dry white toast, and he's like, "Elwood." And one's washing dishes and one's cooking, and then they end up walking out. they tell her, we're getting the band back together. And Aretha Franklin is his wife, and she is adamantly against it.
Yep.
And that's when they have the big epic dance number of respect. And even the Blues Brothers, as she's singing, like the entire like cafe, just everybody gets up and starts dancing. And even the Blues Brothers are dancing. And when they get back, you know, they end up leaving, going with them. And then we get into the trying to find, you know, money to put on this epic production.
Yeah.
Yep. Classic scenes there.
Dude, this is one of my favorite ones. Like outside of the beginning nun scene where she starts slapping them, this is probably my second favorite. Super cool to see, you know, Aretha Franklin in there, and this whole dance and music number was pretty cool too. So
it is very good.
Actually, I take that back. You know what? That is my second. I'm gonna say a close third here when we get to it. I don't know if my scenes got out of order, so I apologize if I ever.
No, you're fine.
I do have this scene in here, but it was down a couple. So
the only reason I said that is because I wanted us to get the band fully together before we jump into the.
Yes. So now we're at the country bunker, right?
Now we're at the country bunker.
Talking about the band kind of.
Side note on the country bunker. My parents, when I lived at home as a kid, you know, we went over to my next door neighbor's house because my mom and her were best friends, and the guy and my dad were friends. So my dad and him both worked nights. So we went over there one night and we watched the Blues Brothers. And she's like, yeah, this Bill was the guy's name, her husband. She's like, yeah, wait until you see this one scene where the guy who owns this country bunker, and we watched it, and she's like, that's Bill's cousin. So my neighbor's cousin got in the movie somehow.
That's awesome.
He lived wherever it was filmed is where he lived and got into the movie.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. That's cool. So country bunker, band books a gig at the wrong bar.
No, they took a gig from a band.
You're right. They took a gig. They called themselves, what was the band name that they took?
The Good Old Boys.
The Good Old Boys. Yep.
We're supposed to play there.
Yep. So, the real bar, the country bunker's a real bar, right?
I don't remember. I don't know if I've looked that up.
Yeah, I think it is. I think the country bunker is a real bar, and it was not changed very much for at least that's from my research of this scene. They didn't change it much from what the actual bar looked like from, you know, any other day. So it was kind of a cool to see and hear that got into the film wherever it was actually filmed from. But that bar the name was the same, and the look of it was the same.
Nice.
But all right, are we at the next cameo?
So I'm not sure.
I got
Is it at the bunker?
I got Ray's Music Exchange.
Oh, hold on. We did skip over something, but let's go back to the country
Go ahead.
bunker for a second. So the country bunker, they go in, they start introduce themselves as the Good Old Boys, and the band's like, what? You know, he's like, you know, just go with it. And they end up playing their opening song, and it falls flat. There's nobody clapping, nobody cheering. Right. They're just like, they do the whole dance routine, and then they pause and they do their pose. No one says, and they start throwing beer bottles at them, and it's breaking over the what do you call it? The chicken wire.
Yeah. Was this it?
That I believe is it. And
I thought so. All right, go ahead.
So the bottles are breaking everywhere, and then but by the end of the night, they're playing Rawhide, and the crowd loves them. They end up leaving, getting the check, and as soon as they take off, a bus pulls up with the actual good old boys on it, and then there's a little conversation between them and the owner.
And they
And
dip
he's like,
out,
"Well,
yeah, because
I
the
just paid
owners.
the good old boys." You know? But yeah,
Yeah.
before that, when they, I think it was the scene before that, or right around there, is when they go to Ray's Music Exchange to get their instruments.
Yes. Yes, and
Wait.
this is super blurry, but it's crazy how you can have a screenshot that's that clear, and then you go to a blur. But dude, man, I mean, I don't want to use a wrestling term, but like super excited when I saw Ray Charles.
Oh yeah,
you got the right one, baby. That's classic Diet Pepsi. He was the I guess not spokesman, but he was a part of that Diet Pepsi stuff back in the early 90s. And it was just cool to kind of see him have a spot in this movie. And he could hear, I guess people with, I don't know if this is to be true, but people who lose a sense gain better sense in other areas. And he heard somebody coming in to try to steal something, and he
took a shot
almost
at him.
shot him. Yeah. And damn near hit him. So,
or he took a shot at the kid stealing a guitar. I think it was.
That's what it was. Yeah. It was a kid.
And then they go in, and Murph is like messing around on the keyboard, and he's like, this keyboard's dead. It doesn't have any life to it. And then Ray's like, oh, really? And then he comes back out around the counter and starts playing. And again, another dance number where even the people in the street heard it and were dancing.
Yep. Oh man. That is close to we're getting to the palace, the ballroom gig.
Mm-hmm.
We show up now. This scene, this was not the final, because the final performance. I'm trying to follow my own.
Final performance is at the Palace Ballroom.
It is. Okay, sorry. I had them listed in two different spots. But
Yep.
So when they started playing, and I wish I had a screenshot, did you notice that when they started playing and, Elwood and Jake were trying to get to the stage,
Mm-hmm.
the outfits changed.
Yeah, I think I did notice that.
So, like the main character, or the main, the one that was singing, I can't remember the character's name.
Cap Calloway is his real name, but
Cap Calloway, yeah. So he had a black suit on, and then as soon as those things opened and he started singing, his whole outfit changed to white.
Everyone was wearing white, and then when the Blues Brothers come back on, it changes back.
Yeah,
I think it was done on purpose, obviously, but
it was. But I thought it was a mistake because I only noticed the one guy, and I said, "Did they just have a mistake in that?" And then I rewound it, and I saw everybody's outfit change. And I said, "That has to be on purpose."
It was.
And I looked it up, and I think it was just because they tried to make him feel like, "Hey, this is how he envisions himself when he is performing in front of a crowd. Like he feels kind of that glow up and kind of." He's the star now, so that's just they was kind of embodying what he feels inside when he's in front of people. So Jake and Elwood kind of get into the ballroom. They're getting chased by cops.
Getting chased by cops. John Candy had been chasing them for a while now, which
we didn't even mention John Candy. We saw him when we were talking about wrestling, and we forgot to mention John Candy. A young John Candy too.
Young John Candy, yep.
This might have been one of his first movies. I don't know. I have to look that up.
It was close, but they were on the street handing out flyers and stuff, and I think is how he found out about where they were playing. And
and they said, you know what? Let's just set up. And one of the cops is like, well, I've never seen these guys play. Let's just. They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. They're playing a gig. Let's watch them. So they sit down, and that's when he starts ordering all the orange whips.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, let's have a drink. You want an orange whip? You want an orange whip? Yeah, 3 orange whips.
That's great. So So they're playing. It was Minnie the Moocher. That's what it was. Minnie the Moocher was the song that they were playing before Jake and Elwood made it up to the stage. So they get up. The full performance is that everybody needs somebody to love.
Yep.
That's the name of the song. Yep. Crowd goes wild. I mean,
and it's a packed house too. So they got all the money they needed.
Yep.
But they had, when they were dancing, there's a break in the song where the singing's done for a little while. So they start dancing and they go out on the stage and then they come back and then they get to backstage and they see the manager of the hotel ballroom. And he's like, "Hey, is there any way that we can get out of here? You got like a back door." And he's like, "Yeah, it's just behind the drum riser." So they go back and talk to the drummer. They're like, "Hey, you guys just keep playing. We're going to make a break for it. Take the money to the Penguin." And down the back they go.
Yep.
And I'll let you take it from here because
they had
someone you recognize.
So are we talking about the the Carrie Fisher?
the one you know now.
Yes, Carrie. Yes, they are met with Carrie Fisher in the as they're trying to exit, and
with the machine gun.
With the machine gun, and John talks her into, or Jake, sorry, talks her into stop shooting. You know, and really, I think that's when we find out. And correct me if I'm wrong. That's where we find out that they're exes, right? We didn't know who she was or why she was doing it until the end of the movie.
Until this moment, yeah.
Yeah. So, and anyway, they do they kiss? Or they hug or something, and then he just drops her and then leaves.
He's holding her at one point, and they may have kissed, but
yeah. And then drops her, and sorry, babe, I gotta go.
Yep.
And so that's when we leave. Go ahead.
When they pull out slowly and then they stop, is when the one of the most known lines comes out. It's 106 miles to Chicago. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses, and we have a half a pack of cigarettes. Hit it, and that's when the chase begins.
Yep, the high-speed chase through the streets of Chicago, breaking basically every traffic law imaginable.
Mm-hmm. Almost running over the Nazis.
Yes, they did.
Making them all jump into some nasty water.
Yep, that was a fun scene. Huge cop pile up in the plaza area.
Huge.
You know? Yeah. So probably held the most the record for the most wrecks. I don't know.
It's got to be up there. It definitely does.
So they get into the what building was that they went into? This courthouse?
It was a big courthouse, but they had to go upstairs, and so they hit the button for the elevator, and it's just waiting, and they're just casually waiting there while they had barricaded the door shut.
Dude, I love that. I loved watching them do that. The old cartoon style where you close the door and you put a chair in front of the door, and like a chair is going to stop anybody from opening.
Chairs, trash cans, desks. They were putting everything in front of it.
That was like a Looney Tunes scene. It's just funny to see. Even with the glass when they get upstairs and they finally their glass doors, they still put couches and tables in front of it.
Yep.
So they finally make it up, man. They make it up. They give the money to the person behind the counter and says, "Make this out to the orphanage." This all goes there, and as soon as it happens, basically mid celebration.
They put the stamp on it, and then
and it zooms out, and you see a slew of cops surrounding them.
Yep, tons and tons of cops.
And the movie kind of ends with Jailhouse Rock, and they're in jail again, I guess. And
the entire band and them.
Yep, and they love the end, man. It was kind of a cool. like intense ending of it, because I was like, man, this movie's about over with. They're not. Are they gonna make it? Are they? What's gonna happen? And sure enough, as soon as that stamp hit, boom, Jailhouse Rock. They're all in jail, and that's how it ends.
They went to jail for the right reason. They did good.
It was a very good like bookending movie. The movie kind of made it full circle. So, man, I mean, I've only seen the movie one time, so I mean, I know I only had a couple lines per. Mm-hmm. Like, what is this up there for? Like one of your favorite '80s movies, or maybe favorite movies of all time? Like, tell me a little bit of kind of where you're the first time watching it, and just your overall thoughts of it.
It's just probably like my first time watching it. I was a kid, and I don't know that I grasped everything, because I was 5 years old when this came out, so I probably saw it, a couple of years later, and then probably once I was 10, it was up there with some of my favorites, and it's still to this day it's probably in my top 10, if not top 15. I mean, it's up there.
I can see why, man. Yeah. If I think I would probably have a better appreciation for it had I watched it when I was younger, or if I was born maybe years before and watched it as a 5-year-old like you or whatever. And it's funny because like you said you didn't get some of the jokes probably because you were 5. I would do this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I had the same situation sometimes when I was growing up watching different TV shows. I remember watching. I'll never forget this. I remember watching Married with Children as a young child. And I was so young that I did not know, I didn't understand the jokes. I didn't know what they were saying, because a lot of them are really crude humor in that show. And then when I got a little bit older, I think I was, I don't remember exactly how old I was, 6, 7, 8, I don't know exactly. But then my parents all of a sudden said I couldn't watch it. And I'm like, I used to watch this years ago when I was younger. Why can't? And they told me finally, I heard whatever. Well, now you can understand what they're saying. I don't want you to. I don't want you to hear these jokes. So it's just funny you said that. It kind of reminded me of that.
I mean, as far as like language goes, there's no language in this movie, really. I mean, they say shit and stuff, but like it's not really said in a way that's like demeaning or anything like that. I mean, it's like, oh shit, like when they get smacked, shit, fuck, it's not like. So for me, it was just I watched it, and then like back in the day when VHS was popular, and like 83, 84, my dad would rent it and I'd watch it, and then I just liked it more and more. That's awesome, it just kind of, that's how it grew on me,
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you made me watch it. Like I said, I've and I know there's a second one, isn't there?
There is a second one that came out in 98 called Blues Brothers 2000.
Yeah.
I will say it does continue the story. Definitely not as good. It actually flopped in the box office. Some flops are good though. But this one was not. Like, if you look back at it, Clue was actually a flop.
With Tim Curry?
With Tim Curry. Clue flopped in the theaters.
A classic.
And if you wanna recover that sometime, that is probably my all-time favorite movie.
1000%, dude. I haven't seen that movie in years, but I love Clue.
It's in my top like 2 or 3. Like it's one of my favorites, and that actually flopped in the theater because when you watch it now, and when it came out on video, you see all 3 endings. This is how it could have happened, or this is how it could have happened, but this is how it really happened. When they put it out in theaters only got 1 ending. You didn't see all 3, and then that upset people. They're like, well, I don't want to pay to go watch it again to see a different ending at a different theater. So
I didn't know that. That's
really upset people. Yeah. So when you see that and it says, this is how it could have happened, that was the actual ending in one of them. It said, but it would say, this is how it could have happened. This is how, so
Huh.
I thought it was genius, honestly.
It's a good idea. I think I mean, it was I can see how people could get pissed and like, hey, I don't want to go pay another $15, whatever the movie cost was.
Like that was a flop. Blues Brothers obviously was not a flop. With the budget,
115 million they made in box office. Yeah.
Yep, and that was domestic and foreign, so it was good.
Yeah. Yep, I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was a great watch, and I'm glad you recommended it. And I might just for the fun of it, just for funsies, I might go check out the Blues Brothers 2000 just to continue that story, even though it was probably terrible, and we're gonna see it. But
and then in August, you're gonna smack me upside the head. Why'd you let me watch that?
Oh yeah,
it's not terrible, but it's definitely not. It's not comparable.
Yeah, it's usually, when you have an iconic first movie and then you try to start to piggyback off of it with sequels and stuff. I mean, sequels are never usually as good as the original. So, Brody Hall, look at that. Brody Hall's on YouTube and Facebook. Look at that. He's given us 2 views. The Clue is fantastic, 100%. One of my favorites. Just like, it's been a while since I've seen it. I love Tim Curry, man. I loved him in It. I love It. Pennywise, that's one I would love to cover too.
Great actor. We can cover Clue.
Yeah,
we'll figure out when it came out.
Yeah, one of these days, man. When you Stitch and I, when he was on the show, we used to do and we might do it next week because we only got next week's. We're covering. We're right here at the hour, so we're going to go ahead and announce it. We're going back to wrestling like we always do at the end of each month. We're going to talk the very first TNA Impact, which happened in June of 2004. This is not the first TNA event that happened in 2002. This is the first Impact, and this is also not the first live Impact because that had Sting on it. And but this is the first ever TNA Impact. We're going to go back and watch it. That episode of TNA Impact's only 45 minutes long. So
it's not very long.
It's only got a couple matches. Probably, I think there's 3 or 4 matches on it. So we'll cover all the matches. Next week, we're going to do a draft. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these draft style on a podcast. I'm going to pick a topic. It's probably since it's wrestling, we're going to probably make it wrestling related. And we might do it every show. We might alternate. We might do something different. I don't know. But we'll talk about it offline, but we haven't done a draft in probably 10 or 15 episodes. So might do draft finishers or draft TNA Impact wrestler, whatever. We'll figure something out, but it's always a fun way to end episodes. So
absolutely. That'll be fun.
Yeah, man. The 6-sided ring. We're going to go check out some
ring.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll be fun. And we're going to stream live. For those listening still, we're going to stream live on the hot tag since it is wrestling related. So that'll help bring in that wrestling crowd to the live stream. So, man,
100%.
Episode 36 in the books. It's crazy. We're quickly approaching that year mark. It's wild, man.
Definitely are. And, and we hit the time.
We did right at an hour. I love it, man. Like especially right as I'm starting to say, all right, it's time to get out of here. I look up and I see the 1 hour mark. We hit it. Perfect. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Broderick Hall, Brody Hall, both of you Halls, whatever. Maybe he'll come give me a view on Twitch. Go to my Twitch, Brody. Give me a view. No. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate everybody for listening. On the podcast platform. We will be live again next week. If you ever want to listen to us live or watch us live, we are live every Tuesday night around 8 to 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Otherwise, we release the episodes a day later, usually on the podcast platform. You can listen on those as well. With that being said, I am your host, the real Josh Elliott. This is my co-host, Brian J. Baby. And as always, we'll see you guys next week. And as always, let's get nostalgic.
Rewind the time, crank up the glow, tunes hit different.